Alright, fellas. They did it. They finally did it. We may still have to individually select armor sets for Elites in Halo Reach. We may still have no content added at all to Halo 2. And we may have just gotten our hearts broken after learning that playable Elites will probably never be returned.
Will there be playable Elites in Halo Infinite?
Okay, that's another big question. You know, similar to the last answer, no, we're not currently planning on supporting Elites as a playable character in Infinite.
But they finally did it. Finally. 343 gave Elites some love. I won't read you the whole article from Halo Waypoint, but as a big non-waifu fan of the Elites, I do have some, in my opinion, unique things to say about these new armors. I'll cover all the Elite stuff first, and then cap the video off with all the other non-blarg things that will be coming with this season. I'll keep the video quick, so let's get into it. First of all, for the armor, we have Keep Ward.
Analogous in many ways to an honor guard, the Keep Wards are often tasked with maintaining the safety of a region's Caden.
Ah, how poetic. Keep Ward is sort of a less extravagant version of the beloved and terrifying Halo 2 Honor Guard armor. I would complain that it isn't just straight-up Honor Guard armor, which I would prefer. Which, by the way, 343, please add the ODST armor and Council armor and Honor Guard armor to Halo 2 Classic Multiplayer. Please, it wouldn't take much. But honestly, I'm just happy that we can finally wear Honor Guard armor in Halo, period. I'm not really a fan of the shoulder armor since it reminds me too much of Halo 4 and 5's weird Master Chief shoulder armor, but otherwise I feel that this set of armor actually fits the game's art style pretty well. I guess it's sort of a more combat practical version of the Honor Guard armor and less ceremonial than what we saw in Halo 2. And if I had one tiny little nitpick, I will admit that I'm not the biggest fan of that little rhino horn there, which I'll get into later. The second set of armor we have is Accord. One of the first Sangheili combat harnesses designed primarily by human engineers as part of the Anvil Initiative. So, long story short, it's elite armor made by humans. I never thought I'd see the day. This armor is essentially the inverse of the Helioskrell armor from Halo 5, which is Spartan armor designed by elites. Very cool to come full circle like this. It'll be great for clan kids who want to play elites in human clans, I think. You can see some nice little touches in there, such as the subtle skull designs on the knee and the head, as well as some eagle-themed decal on the shoulders, arms, legs, and chest. I'd also like to point out that the head here is very reminiscent of the Greek god Hermes. I think the lore-wise implications here are very clever, as the Helioskrell armor was designed with elite mythology in mind, so seeing humans do the same thing here by putting human mythology into their armor for the elites is very respectable and just plain neat. Not to mention, badass. I mean, look dude, it's a fucking elite with human armor on him. Altogether, very cool, and I still think it fits the Halo 3 art style pretty well. I think it's also fun to point out that the armor has almost the same silhouette as the classic Halo Elite combat harness, so it's almost poetic in a way. Next up, we have a very interesting piece of armor, Seneschal.
Little is known of the Evocati's Seneschal Order, but documents uncovered after the Covenant War have begun to shed new light on the true purview of the role.
For anyone curious, the Google definition of Seneschal is 1. The steward or major domo of a medieval great house, or 2. A governor or other administrative or judicial officer. Make of that what you will. Now, I say it's interesting, and here's why. This armor is almost completely identical to the Elite Warlord armor for the upcoming Halo Infinite. A game from 2007 has been given armor from a mainline Halo game that isn't even out yet. And better yet, all the Halo Infinite Elite armors have been confirmed to be mostly direct recreations of Halo Reach concept art for the Elites. In this case, concept art for the Halo Reach General armor. So, in a way, we've also had Halo Reach armor added to Halo 3 as well. I mean, come on, look at the shape of the armor and tell me that's not just a Halo 3 Elite wearing Halo Reach General armor. A perfect blend of design between all three games. I don't even like Halo Reach General armor that much, but I love how this looks. Much more sleek and far less goofy than the Halo Reach appearance. I kinda wish they'd add more Halo Infinite/Reach hybrid armors. It really works on the Halo 3 bodies. If I'm gonna nitpick a little bit, it's kind of a shame they used everybody's least favorite Halo Reach Elite armor to do it with.
As you can see here, Elite armor varies from the sleek and cool-looking to just looking stupid.
But I won't complain. I love it. It's Halo Reach armor in Halo 3. What more could you want? Next! Oh boy. Well, knowing how 343 tends to feel about the elites...
Next kill win.
Affirmative! Surprise!
This is about what I was expecting all the armors to look like. General armor. This is General Armor. Even after years of war, many Sangheili warlords choose to don harnesses of high esteem on the battlefield, some looking to fill a power vacuum left by an empire's fall, others seeking to reclaim a far older sense of honor. That one's a mouthful. So, I don't quite like or get this one. It really looks just like Seneschal, but very ugly. I mean, the legs are huge, the shoulder armor is pitiful, and the helmet looks like, well, the Seneschal armor, but very goofy looking. Whereas the Seneschal armor was Halo Reach General Armor, but better and more sleek, this is the Halo Reach General Armor, but worse and fatter. Seneschal Extra Large Edition. It kinda reminds me of how bad 343's take on the classic Elite design looked in Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer. He's so slick and tall and badass, and it looks familiar, but just worse. The big Mickey Mouse ears on this thing certainly don't help at all. And I'm kinda reminded of the Halo 4 Commando armor, which itself was sort of a combination of Halo Reach Zealot and Officer armor. I never thought I'd say this, but compare the Halo 3 one to the Halo 4 one, and the Halo 4 one looks way better. If you like it, I hope I won't stop you from wearing it, but I'm honestly not planning on wearing it myself. Next up, Scion Armor. Typically held by Sangheili females, the role of a Scion is most often granted in the event of a Kaiden's death. As Arbiter Thelvadam has grown in influence, the Scion has become an increasingly respected and valued position across their people. We get the female elite armor from Shadow of Intent. Yay! For those of you who don't know, a couple years ago, Joseph Staten, aka God, wrote a Halo novel called Shadow of Intent, starring the Shipmaster from Halo 2 and 3, and a female elite character named Tul Juran. You can see her armor right here, and yeah, it's pretty spot on. I never thought I'd see it in-game. All that's missing is the badass energy staff, sort of like the Honor Guard staff, by the way. It's a shame we never got to use either of them. Side note, you can see in both armors a lot of influence from the Arbiter's armor, mostly in the legs and helmet. If you mix and match this helmet with some other pieces, you could make a pretty accurate set of Arbiter armor for your multiplayer character. Also, in a sort of roundabout way, we got female playable elites. I mean, not really, but we didn't have female playable Spartans in Halo 3 either, just the voice, so it's close enough. It's a great piece, it fits the art style, I'm personally very happy with it. Next up, we have Asuna Armor. One of the harness patterns favored by the Eyes of the Prophets. Many who once held this title are now considered enemies of the Keep for traitorous actions during the Great Schism. I actually really like this armor. It's sort of Forerunner looking like Prefect, and it's very ceremonial, which I think is fitting. It's also highly reminiscent of Jul 'Mdama's armor from Halo 4 and 5, with its general silhouette and the symbol on the forehead, which I'm sure fans of the character will appreciate. There's a lot of little glowing Tron lights on the armor as well, so honestly I think this might be some sort of elite equivalent to the Lancer, Namgrado, and Infiltrator armor they recently added to Halo 3, which also glow all over the place like they're from the movie Tron Legacy. All in all, this is a very sharp and unique set of armor with some very evilest traits to it. I think it's a welcome addition. And last up we have Artisan. While still adept warriors in their own right, Sangheili Artisan armorers are accomplished craftsmen who, free from Sanchayum oversight and coercion, are entering a renaissance period of warsmithing. So it's basically profit-free blacksmith armor that they make for themselves. It's very simple and heavy looking, without being overly cumbersome like most of 343's elite armor designs. I'm not personally a fan of it, but hey, it doesn't look bad. It looks to me like some sort of heavy armor variant to the classic combat harness. So, if you like big blargs and you cannot lie, this might be the one for you. On a side note, it's also pretty similar to the Storm Covenant armor from Halo 4 and 5, but more simplified. This armor feels like it would be right at home during the Civil War section of Halo 5, and I mean that in a good way. It'll be cool to see classic elites wearing this new armor with simplified designs. Next up, the new colors for the energy swords. First, Evocati's Edge. Only the most adept blade masters were chosen to wield the Ultra's holy fire. Long story short, it's a white energy sword for the always badass Evocati, aka the Elite Ultras. I'll tell you right now that this sword is absolutely my favorite. Hell yeah, brother. Next, Necroplasma.
The glow of fury for those who refuse to become pawns of the creeping death.
Necro meaning death, well, what can I say? It's a green energy sword. By extension, it's basically the infection energy sword from Halo 5. I love it. Great work, 343. Next, we have the Light of Jori.
Jori's warm light helps give Sanghelios life. This blade is for all who defend her.
Yellow, plain and simple. Love it. It's named after one of the stars near Sanghelios, and by extension, a Sangheli star god. Next, Caden's Guard.
The swords of Sanghelios brandish blades bound by honor, to defend a keep not bound by borders.
From what I can tell, this is supposed to be reminiscent of the Prophet's Bane from Halo 5, and probably belongs to the Arbiter's bodyguards. It's orange, and that's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is.
Next, Darkstar. Will Fade call out your name in the Hall of Eternity when your last breath has been spent? It's purple. What can I say? Like the Light of Jori, it makes direct reference to one of the stars near Sanghelios, and by extension, one of their gods. Next, the Blood Blade. It is an official Silent Shadow energy sword. If you don't know who the Silent Shadow are, you're missing out. They're featured prominently in a few bits of extended Halo canon, and they'll also be featured in Halo Infinite. Long story short, they're black and red super elite assassin badass squads. They're essentially the Dark Brotherhood from Oblivion, but elites. The YouTuber Altheros has a few videos on them kicking ass in-game, and though this sword isn't as red as I might like it is in Halo Infinite, Halo Wars, and Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer, hey, it gets the job done. Stealthy, menacing, red, mwah. And finally, the Lance of Saban. Only Sudanese natives may possess blades infused with a shard of the Moon's own bounty. If you're wondering why it's pink, fun fact about the lore. So, Saban is where all the crystals for the Needler is from, so I think what they're getting at is that this is a Needler energy sword. It's not going to function that way in-game, of course, but just know that that's probably what you're holding. A Needler energy sword. Very fun. And that does it for swords. Final thoughts on the swords. These look really great. I personally wish there was a dark blue energy sword or a black one. That would be nice. I won't complain, though. An Ultra energy sword, a Silent Shadow energy sword, and a Needler energy sword. You know, that'll do it. Quite nicely, might I add. On a quick side note, I feel that multicolored energy swords is something that Halo always should have had, or at least for a long time. It's the one thing that's always been consistently cooler about lightsabers, and it's super cool to see some non-blue energy swords showing up in some of the later games, like Halo 2 Anniversary, Halo 5, and Halo Wars. And now, soon, hopefully, Halo Infinite. I hope 343 goes all the way. I want to see the full spectrum, baby. I have some final thoughts on the new Elite Armors, and then I'll move on to the other things coming in Season 7, namely the human things. Like I said, most people hate the Rhino Horns from Halo Reach General Armor. I'm seeing a lot of Rhino Horns here. In fact, 4 of the 7 new armors have Rhino Horns on them, and I'm sure a lot of my fellow Blarg players probably feel the same way about that. Just a nitpick though, because otherwise this update is a godsend for Elite players. These new armors are really great, and I personally can't wait to just have the Halo Reach armor for my body and then have the Honor Guard helmet on top. It'll be a perfect combination. I'm not gonna lie, I think 343 really outdid themselves here. Personally, I really didn't like the classic Elite armor in Halo 3. Halo 2 just had such a high standard for badassery when it came to Elite armor, and the Reach armor pushed that to its limit before 343, well, did what they did to Elites. I mean, look at the Halo 3 helmets. For Spartans, every single one of these helmets is just badass and unique. Then you look at the Halo 3 Elite helmets, and for the most part, they all look the same. This here's the classic badass Elite helmet. This is a closed-off one with glowy eyes. Here's another closed-off one with glowy eyes. Here's a closed-off one with glowy eyes and tusks.
They look like tusks.
And here's the Commando, which is actually pretty cool, yet still very similar to the others. To this day, I still can't decide which elite armor to wear in Halo 3. Not because they're all cool like in Halo Reach, but because they all look so bland and kind of similar. And now, hell yeah, brother, elites with human armor, female elite armor, Halo Reach armor. It's good shit, and I finally love how the Halo 3 elites look. Especially if you consider the fact that all these were made from scratch compared to the new human Halo 3 armors, which were either ported straight from Halo Online or based on armors from other games. And the energy swords? Perfect. 343 is still kind of racist towards elite players, I've noticed, with derogatory terms such as the art of wart and calling us dinos, but I won't complain. This season, literally called elite, is very special, and it's nice to have. Thank you, 343. You did good, kid. Alright, now for the human work. First of all, they're finally fixing classic Halo Combat Evolved graphics. I won't go too into detail for those of you that don't know, but the Halo MCC version of Halo 1 is actually significantly worse looking than the original game. Lots of textures, animations, models, and entire functions, such as the Jackal shields, are getting perfected back to their original form. People have been asking for this for years, and it's finally happening. Thank you, 343. Waterfall and Edge from Halo Online will be patched up. Very nice. For Halo Combat Evolved multiplayer, 10 new Warthog skins will be added. Very cool. Halo 3 will get 4 new Warthog skins and 7 new tech suits. More Halo Online human armor sets may be added to Halo 3, such as Operator Class Mjolnir, and Halo 4, which is actually built on Halo Reach's engine, will be receiving all 6 Halo Reach armor effects for your multiplayer characters. Very, very cool. And, also, Halo 4 will finally be getting everyone's favorite 4 armors from Halo 4. The Champions Bundle, featuring Classic Mark V, Ricochet, Prefect, the Forerunner armor, and ODST armor. Thank you. My god, I can finally finish my ODST armor collection across all 5 games that feature it. This was so needed. I still think they should add the Halo 2 ODST armor. And additionally, for Halo 4, 16 cut weapon skins will be added to the game, 2 for the assault rifle, 3 for the battle rifle, 4 for the DMR, 1 storm rifle, 1 carbine, 1 suppressor, and 4 for the Magnum. This is a great move, 343. I can see myself playing a lot more Halo 4 already. Personally speaking, Season 7 is set to beautifully deliver on a huge chunk of things that we really wanted. This will probably be my favorite season. I think all of my fellow Dino players, Classic Combat Evolved fans, and ODST fans of Halo 4 can agree. Thank you, 343. We can't wait. By the way, thank you for over 50 subscribers. I've been very busy in my private life, so I haven't had much time to make videos. I'm back for a little bit, and then I'm going to disappear for another 2 years, just like Grade A, Under A, and all the rest of my favorite YouTubers. Thank you all for watching, and all the love as always. The Dervish.
You can be my bodyguard, I can be your